Hello, Ken.
Hi, Michael.
So, when you're working, does it feel similar to when I paint that it's hard for me to switch from working to interacting with other people?
Absolutely. I find that I'm in such a zone that I don't feel if it's cold. I don't feel if it's hot. Beth can come in. Oh, Bettina. She likes to be called Bettina in my literary masterpieces. As I said in my first blog. She can come in, and it could be the middle of winter. I have the window open. It's freezing. I don't notice it. Could be dead of summer, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt. She says, it's so hot in here. I don't notice. Or, it's a problem, too, because I can ignore my hunger for many hours. Sometimes a dozen or more hours. I'm just so focused on what I'm doing. So yeah, and when people call me and I'm working, they always ask me if I'm sleeping. I'm always offended, but apparently I'm in a state that is different than a normal interacting waking state. So yes, it's very much similar to your being in a zone.
And were there two composers that you can kind of compare these two opposite frames of mind?
Absolutely, I tell the story in one of my books recently that that Mozart and Bernstein were kind of opposite poles in this way of working. Like Bernstein would tell his wife and his kids they had to stay out of his study, had to keep it quiet in the house because he was composing. He needed total silence and concentration. Silence for his concentration. Whereas Mozart, so the story goes, would sit by an open window, and if he heard a tune, someone whistling a tune, or singing a tune, or strolling musicians, he would write it into his score. And I've tried to adopt more of the Mozart openness in more recent years. So if I hear a salsa tune outside the window, in my oratorio, I have a number of Latin dances that were inspired by things I heard on the street through the open window. And so I think I initially was thinking about the attitudes of my parents in terms of how they socialized. And my mother, who was a visual artist for almost her entire life, if not her entire life, had the attitude of she only meets nice people. And my father, who started out as a cartoonist and then was a painter and became a writer and then eventually a small-time publisher, did not always have the attitude that he always met nice people. And his attitude was that the world was a cold, hard, ungiving, unforgiving place where it's impossible to break in no matter how much talent you have. You have to have someone else knocking at the door for you. In his case, he was lucky he had his brother who was a great door opener. I always felt the way my father felt, but the last half dozen years or so, I've begun to realize that my mother actually had the secret. Just know that everybody wants to be liked. So she wants to be liked. She knew that everybody else wanted to be liked. So by and large, I make friends wherever I go now.
Beautiful.
Thanks for asking these questions, Mike.
You're welcome, Ken.